I was about to do a review of this board about a year ago, but during that time, boards were out of stock until just recently, so I decided now would actually be a better time to review this board. Now keep in mind, this review is not for boards sold by Katsukiri at 3dsvideocapture.com. These are the original 3DS boards that are sold by Loopy on 3dscapture.com. If you're expecting a review of the other capture board, go look for a different video. Anyway, originally when I saw this board, I was very skeptical of sending in my own 3DS to get it modded. Like, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to get my money's worth or if I was even going to get it back. So I opted to actually get a pre-modded 3DS for around $450. That's no longer an option anymore. You have to send your 3DS in nowadays. And when you just send in the 3DS itself, it's only around $200. It also helps that there was a $50 price cut from last year to now, so that's good. And now, Loopy actually has a European partner, so if you live in Europe, you might be more interested in getting a board from the European partner of his. And after I ordered that 3DS board, the board shipped fairly quickly. It came to me about 3 days after I actually made the purchase. But to be fair, I'm only about 3 hours away from Lehigh, the city that the board actually ended up shipping from. So that was probably a large factor in how I ended up getting it so quick. If you're in some place like Canada, or any other part of the world for that matter, it's probably gonna take a lot longer for you just due to international shipping taking a longer time naturally. When I actually got the 3DS, it seemed like it was shipped in a way that you would expect a normal 3DS to be shipped in. It's just, instead of actually being shipped as a regular 3DS, it's got a capture board attached to the back of it. The capture board itself is stored inside a case on the back of the 3DS. Basically, you will never see that unless you take the screws off and purposely get into the back cover of the 3DS. Maybe you want to change the battery or something on it. But that's about the only time you would ever see the main board itself. And despite there being some extra padding on the back of the 3DS, it still seems very portable, and honestly, I think it feels even more amazing in the hands than just a typical 3DS normally, just because of the extra bulk on the back. And the capture board is very simple to use. It's very simple to plug into your computer. You just have to hook a micro USB cable into a port on the back of the 3DS, and then hook the other end into a USB port on your computer. As for the capture software that you're going to need to use, you have to download the program from the 3DS Capture website. You might need to install some drivers too, but I had Windows 8, so I didn't have to install any drivers whatsoever. Now, the capture software, it's got basic audio and video settings, so you can change your compression methods, you can change what audio source you want to use to record your video. Although one thing I would like to point out is that if you want to record the 3DS's audio, you need to have a line-in cable going into your headphone jack, or you need to have some sort of way of enabling stereo mix or a speaker recording function similar to the one that XSplit uses. You can take your snapshots, you can choose where to save your videos to, but other than that, that's about the basic functionality that you're ever going to get from this capture software. So if you want additional things, such as positioning the screens in a specific way, that's when you're going to need video editing software, or programs like XSplit to actually position all that stuff when you're live streaming or recording a video. From what I can see, when I record videos, the quality and the frame rate seem to be very stable. When I'm not locking down most of my videos to about 30 frames per second, I usually do get around 60. And as with any capture software, a lot of your frame rate and quality and all that will slightly be determined by the specs of your computer, which my laptop is actually very high-end. So that's why a lot of capture devices actually end up showing great frame rate and great quality whenever I use them. And I actually have quite a few videos just from all my shiny hunts and a few battles that I've recorded for Caro in the past. Now, while this review might have come out a year earlier, if Loopy was in stock a year earlier, something actually did happen that made my decision to delay this by a year a lot better, actually. Because on May 12th, 2015, my capture board just randomly stopped working. My computer could essentially detect that I had my capture board hooked into the computer, but at the same time, I couldn't actually get it to pick up any sort of video or audio signal whatsoever. But luckily, with every Loopy capture board, there's a lifetime warranty on every single board. If one happens to break, all you have to do is message Loopy telling him that you're about to send one in, and you'll be able to get a free repair on it, essentially. The main way that I contacted Loopy to make sure it was okay for me to send my 3DS into him was through the forum that he has. Now, I actually had to try a variety of different methods at the time because he was quite busy with other projects, so he really didn't have a lot of time to really be looking at too many of his messages and whatnot. So first I ended up trying a public forum post, and then I moved on to a private message, which he actually responded and told me that I could send my 3DS into him to get repaired. If he doesn't respond on the forums, you might also try emailing him at info@3dscapture.com. So because I lived about 3 hours away from Lehigh, where Loopy currently is, I was able to send it to him with about 1 day shipping. The 1 day shipping wasn't even going to cost that much anyway. And then a couple days later, on that Saturday, Loopy had responded to me in a forum post and told me that he had replaced the board because he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So it was just a bizarre issue that's probably not going to happen if you end up getting this board. I just ended up getting unlucky. So a couple days later, I ended up getting my 3DS back, and the board is working fine, and I didn't have the USB issue anymore. Overall, I believe Loopy's capture board is very great in build quality, and with additional software, you can make some high quality streams and videos rather easily. It's just you probably wouldn't want to rely on the original capture software for everything. In the case of your board malfunctioning for whatever reason, that warranty will always be there, just so that way you don't have to worry about losing a really expensive device. So if you're considering starting a YouTube career with this board, or starting a career on Twitch, whatever service you decide to use this device for, go for it. Because I'm sure you'll love this board. It's been really great for me over the years, and I'm sure it'll be great for you as well.